Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
Hey, what's up, MLM Nation? It is Simon Chan here, and today we have a special episode. It's been a while. So much has happened. I want to share with you one of the best books I've read in probably the last 10 years. And I want to share that with you. So anyway, it's been like 3 months since we did one of these behind the scenes episodes. The last one, time has gone by so fast. That was back in November when it was my 20th year anniversary as an entrepreneur. And I shared a lot of the mistakes I made and the wins I had. I don't know if I shared my wins. I definitely shared the lessons I learned. But it seems like it's been 3 years since that episode. I want to share a few things, especially how to really take your business to the next level and things that I've implemented that's made a huge, huge difference. And I've seen our consistency champions. These are people in my mastermind. I've been doing it and super proud of them, of their growth since we started this group in September. It used to be called the MLM Nation Mastermind, but we changed it to the Consistency Champions because one thing that every one of them do have been very consistent, and they don't get massive change overnight, but they get a little bit better, 5% better, 3%, 10% better each week. And the last 4 or 5 months have been dramatic, right? I always love to give shout outs. I hope I don't miss anyone, like Kathleen Harrell, Terry Harper, Carla Johnson. There's another one, Sean Smith. There's another one, Teresa Hanskuva. Another one, Alejandra Aragones, even Christina Sabo, Greg Pryor, who, when he first showed up on Zoom, wasn't showing up as a leader. And he said, now all of a sudden she's showing up way more consistent, even going through personal things. Really, really proud of him. Christine Anjo. But anyway, you can, I could put a list there. You can follow what they're doing on social media. We meet once a week. It's been great. But let's not talk about them. I want to talk about this amazing book that I've read, that I've actually been teaching to them, and they've implemented a lot of this. And let me share with you how I came across that book first, is my accountability partner. Again, component 7 of the consistency system is to have accountability. If you want to get your results, you must get some type of accountability. It could be your upline, mentor, sideline, friend, someone outside the profession, whatever, but it needs to be someone that inspires you to pursue your goals and to stick to your goals. If not, you're not going to make it, right? We're all human. We get distracted. If you get distracted or you have ADHD, don't feel bad. We're all like that, but it's the accountability that helps us keep us focused. And same thing for me. I need that accountability as well. So my friend Dave, we've been meeting over like 10 years, 11 years, something like that. Told me about going back to Essentialism. There's a great book, Essentialism. I had read it. I think I kind of skimmed through it because I had read The One Thing a few years back, and it's very similar. But anyway, I went back to it and I read it during the Christmas break, and that totally like rocked my world. I was like, wow, this is what I need to do. And then I went back and read The One Thing, and that gave me, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. So then I went back, and instead of going for more books, this is something I used to keep on reading more. I went back to reading Essentialism again for the second time. I realized so much stuff I missed out. And then went back to reading The One Thing again and realized those things I needed to implement. And from there, I had our other accountability call. And so the next one was in January. And he told me about this book that he's reading. 10X is easier than 2X. I think that's, I don't even know the exact title, but it's just 10X is easier than 2X by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And it was awesome. And I'll put the link in the show notes page. Okay. It was the best book I've read in the last 10 years. And now, again, I'm not saying the other books weren't good, but at this point in my business life, in this part of my personal life as a father, husband, it was the best thing I've read. And I'll share a few things. It's basically saying that if you want to 10X your business, it's way easier than 2X, right? And now you may say, well, that doesn't even make sense. How can something, to grow? So give you an example. If you're making $500 a month, it's way easier for you to go from 500 to 50,000 to 5,000 a month, and for 500 to go to 1,000. And he said, well, you need a lot more people, you need a lot more sales. Yes, but the premise of the book is the reason why it's easier is because, number one, there's more competition going from 500 to 1,000 because most people don't believe they can do it. So it's just the fact that you can believe it, you're going to play big. It's like the book, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dave Schwartz. We all got to play bigger. It forces you to play bigger. And when you play bigger, it makes you think differently. So it got me thinking, if I wanted to 10X my business, gosh, I wouldn't be able to do this, right? I'll give you an example how it applies to network marketing. To go 10X, you need this, and this applies to everyone, is you have to stop doing a lot of things you're currently doing right now. Stop. Now, you probably are not stopping because you're not comfortable with that, because you're afraid of the loss, right? No one likes change, including myself. I don't like change. I'll give you an example of this. So in network marketing, just say you have a team of 20 people, 15 people, you're making 500 a month, and you're spending time every week talking to everyone in the downlines, just like the way I used to, making the mistake. I'm spending a lot of my time in management mode. One of the by the way, second worst mistake ever, right? I always talk about three biggest mistakes is you quit right away, you get into management mode right away, and then you go full-time too early. But go to management mode means you recruit a couple people. You say you recruit 2 people. Then all of a sudden you spend all your time trying to train them to get 2, so they can get 2, and then they get 2, and those people get 2, and then the whole world is in your downline. Obviously that's a joke. It's not going to happen that way. Most people don't do much. Most people, they want to be successful, but don't have the desire to do it. And if you're listening to this, you're probably not that person. You really want it. So most people become customers, but very few people become that leader that listens to MLM Nation, that invests in themselves, right? So you're looking for that person, and you're never going to look for that person unless you give up. I mean, what's the most valuable thing in the world? It's time. We've all limited time and resources. So unless you give up the time to working with these downlines that don't do much, you're never going to find that superstar leader, because that superstar leader could be out there on social media right now, or could be in your community, but you're not even thinking about them. It's not even on your radar, or you don't even have the time to follow up with them because you're working with the wrong people, poor quality, or downlines, or you're training them. You're hoping your downlines, trying to motivate them to do stuff. Well, it doesn't matter. If you look at the numbers and the history of network marketing, the just history of mankind, most people are not going to do much. Just like most people join a gym, I'm not going to go there 7 days a week. They may go there 3 times a week, right? So most people don't even go. Actually, in fact, if everyone who signed up for a gym membership went, it would be a fire hazard, right? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't work that way. It's the same thing in network marketing. I used to remember as a leader that he didn't like that. He always just clinged on to these downlines. And that's why he never grew, because he never had the time. For me, it was when I finally got it from my mentor, and it took me painful 2 years to let some people go, just embrace them that, hey, they are just glorified customers. I embraced them. And then I started having time to find that leader, have that time to follow up with this one person I knew that would be good. He eventually earned 7 figures. Eventually had the time to expand to Malaysia, build a huge team in the Philippines. And even while I was in the Philippines, I had to let my US team go, not work with them closely, right? Not call them one-on-one. And now I'm not saying the leaders, the ones who are active, I would talk to them, but the ones who weren't really making it happen, I had to cut those ties. I would see them on the team calls, but I wasn't spending one-on-one time with them. And that gave me the time and the energy to focus and finding the people that took me to 5,000 a month, eventually 10, 20,000 a month, right? So that's an example where, is it much easier? Is it much easier to find a leader that can bring in, like I brought in this leader that brought in 300 people in 1 month? Way easier to grow that way than try to go out there and get my downlines, which maybe just 1 or 2 customers a year, try to get them to do more, right? To find that soup. So that's an example where 10X is easier than 2X. But in order to get 10X, you have to make the decisions to give up things, give up talking to people, give up this, or maybe giving up hanging out with certain friends, right? Or maybe you have a lifestyle where you have to, you want to enjoy, wind down and watch some Netflix. at the end of the night. You got to give that up if you want to get 10x, right? So another part of the book is what's the 20% that's going to give you 80% of the return? That was something that I realized, oh my goodness, I was spending a lot of my time and I wasn't working really smart. Now, I was definitely way smarter than before, but still, if for me to get to 10, for ML Nation, myself to get to 10x, really had to change. Work on the 20% that give you 80% of return. This book has been such dramatically game changing. The questions it asks you and the stories it shared that I started applying to my personal life, to my son. My oldest son wants to be a professional baseball player. Make me start thinking, is the stuff we're doing, where he's definitely working hard, is it the 20% that's going to give him the 80% of return? Or are we still doing things that 80%, 20%? And a part of the book was going through, now you probably, when I first read this book, I was like, oh, I've never done 10x. How can I do 2x? But we had made these dramatic leaps of faith and jumps, right? So you have as well, when you decide to be bold about network marketing, go build your business, that was a 10x move. Just like when I decided to forget about going to business school and build a network marketing business and focusing, that was a 10x move, right? To 10 times my income through different venue. When I launched ML Nation, that was another 10x move, right? You can say when I became a dad, that was definitely a 10x move in terms of fulfillment and life happiness. Big change for me. That was totally rocked my world. Like, in terms of how I spent my time, how I thought, what I had to do, my finances and everything. So we have done 10x before. And then I think back to my son, he's very, very advanced for his age in baseball. We have definitely made a lot of 10x moves. Now, uncomfortable moves, including last summer, leaving the favorite, in my opinion, they're the best team he had with friends and having fun. And we had to give that up, hanging out, playing ball with his close friends so that he could get to the next level faster. That was some parents said, well, that's, he should be hanging out with his friends. Well, they have a different goal. They just want to play in high school. Well, we want to play pro, right? We had to make it uncomfortable 10x move. And I'm thinking back now, we have good friends with another team. I love the coaches. We may have to make another 10x move and give that up to do something different, right? Lately, he's advanced so much as a hitter because we invested in coaching. It's not super pricey, but it's definitely not cheap. It's over $100-something an hour, right? And it takes an hour of my time to drive down there. It's definitely outside our neighborhood, an hour drive in traffic, an hour drive back, an hour lesson, 3 hours of my time. That's another 10x move. Things that I had to give up, doing things so that I give a lot of my sports cards, hobby stuff to focus on that to make that 10x move for him. And he's definitely has definitely got 10x. I'm telling you, never be cheap on personal development. It has been leaps and bounds. If you look at his Instagram account recently, just one video went viral. He's got one at 50,000. Another one was 25,000. Another 16,000 views of him hitting. Was a result of this coach. Okay, and the hard work of him. But if it wasn't for the coach, is like a hitting guru, hitting swing coach, it definitely would not have happened. So 10x, right? And another part of the book, before I wrap up, is talks about the gap in the gain. The gap is how far we still have to go, right? So the gap for you is like, oh, you're still stuck and you haven't made income. All the goals that you set in January 1st are so far off and you haven't done it. You said you're going to be financially free by now. You still haven't done it. You said you're going to make $2,000 a month. You're still only making $100 a month. That's the gap, right? And when we focus on the gap, it's very discouraging and just makes us to give up. The gain is thinking back how much we've grown. And that's exciting. That's encouragement. So it could be you have better habits now. You work on your income producing activities every day, while before you used to do it only 3 times a week. You only do it after a coaching call, right? The gain could be you're growing, you're taking the positive attitude and sharing with your kids, while before you didn't even know this. So the gain is how much you have improved. And the gap and the gain, to be successful, you got to focus on the gain and not the gap. So if I focus on the gap, man, my life is pretty messed. Oh my goodness, I wish I could be further along, and a lot of quote unquote failures. And that doesn't do me any justice, doesn't help me. But when I focus on the gain, I'm telling you, the last 2 months have been huge wins. And that's why I'm doing this episode. Just the last month have been huge, huge gains. And that just reminded me, I need to teach my son this. We kind of do this, you visualize. If you visualize on the negative, you're going to get negative. Visualize on the positive, doesn't guarantee success, but it helps you get towards success, right? There's a saying, positivity doesn't guarantee success, but negativity definitely guarantees failure. So the gap and the gain is about that. You're focusing on the gain or you're focusing on the gap, how much further you got to go. So focus on the gain. And the gap, a big part of the reason for the gap is comparison. And the comparison is the thief of joy and applies to, and the book talked about applies to parenting. And that was, wow, that's the biggest moments. And it definitely helped me out with my relationship with my second son. To be fully transparent, he's like, my oldest one is exactly like me. I call my mini me. My youngest one looks like my wife, but he actually thinks a lot like me. And my second one doesn't think like me, doesn't act like me, doesn't think like my wife either, right? Maybe a little bit of parts of her, but mostly it's very different. And it's very frustrating. And, we spend a lot of time on baseball, all three boys. I hit with them all the time. And I realized my relationship with my second son has always been frustrating because we spend a lot of time, and he's compared to most kids in the neighborhood, awesome. He's if he played Little League, he'd be an all-star. If he played travel ball, he's better than most travel ball kids. He's so athletic. He's actually, in fact, very fast, faster than my older kids. But he's not as good because he is good, but in my mind, he wasn't as good because in my mind, I was always comparing to my older son, who was at that age way more advanced. Right now, of course, my second one is way more advanced in other things, but being the clueless dad I am, I'm focusing on the gap and not even thinking about that. You keep thinking, oh, when Ethan was at that age, he was doing this, and he's not there yet. Right? Oh, my youngest one is almost catching up to him. I keep focusing on the gap. Like it's terrible, and that led to frustrations, hurt our relationship for sure. And then when I start focusing on the gain, like, wow, and he's gotten so much better, right? He's gotten so much more mature. Part of it is like his maturity level is not as advanced. But instead of comparing to my oldest son, who's really mature for his age, like he was doing batting averages at 6 years old, doing division, right? He was just not a normal kid. Now, there's things that he's very, very good in, some things he's not good in. But I don't remember not good. I just remember he's really good in math, very good in sports, and just picks things up so fast. But I was focusing, again, the gap, comparing him, and wasn't any good. And when I just accepted the gain, focus on, number one, accept him for who he is. And I know that people told me that, but that hasn't really helped me as much. Even though I have to remind myself that, but just focusing on how much better he's gotten, everything has been a big game changer. Focusing on his attitude, how much better instead of comparing. And I know it's difficult when we have kids, but that has been a game changer for me. Focusing on the gain, how he has gained instead on his gap. So just some parenting things, especially if you have multiple kids, or maybe even if you have one kid, think about how the way you used to be compared. That's, again, focusing on the gap, right? Your kid may not be like where you are, but focusing on how he's getting better every day. And that just makes things so much easier and the relationship better. All right, so that's the 10X. I'll put the link in the show notes, folks. Highly recommend it. 10X is easier than 2X. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, leaders have read that right now, but I'll definitely put in the show notes space. Definitely a game changer. But I kind of gave you a summary, how to think bigger and how to let go of what you're doing. Letting go of 80% of the stuff you're doing, and that's scary and difficult. But I'm thinking about even the stuff I'm doing, like for even getting back to my son, right? We don't hit us. I don't practice with my second son as much because he's different. My oldest son is like a workhorse. My youngest son can go long. My second one gets tired more easily. But just focusing on how much he's better, he got it in 5 minutes, and cutting down the practice time has made it huge. Okay, I gave that up. Like instead of me like the strict work ethic, more. I had to change my values and my principles for him because that's not the way he gains. That's an example. Anyway, for those let me give a quick recap and then a really serious message towards the end. For those who filled out a survey in the end of the year, we had someone with a $100 Amazon gift card. Congrats to her. Appreciate everyone who filled out the survey. It was very, very revealing. We made a lot of changes, and that was part of the motivation to reading 10X. It's better than 2X. Some exciting stuff. I spoke at the Attraction Marketing event hosted by my friends, Fernie Ceballos and Tim Irway. That was awesome. Attraction Marketing is great. It's like, and I talk about podcasting, how he's using podcasting as a platform. Because believe it or not, we're approaching 9 years in doing this. But attraction marketing is basically creating content, doing things that attract people to you instead of you chasing after people. So that was really cool. And I brought my oldest son couldn't make it, but brought my 2 younger boys to the networking function on Thursday night, and they loved it. It's so funny. I had drink tickets, and I don't drink alcohol anymore, so I gave it to them, and the bartender made them a Shirley Temple, but without alcohol, of course. So they're 10 and 8, 10 and 7, and they loved it. They said, "Oh, Daddy, this drink was so good. Can we have another one?" It was so funny, the reaction. But just getting them exposed to how successful people, like 6, 7-figure earners, how do they compose themselves? What are their habits? That was a big win. And I spoke at that event afterwards. I'm speaking at Rob Sperry's event, his breakthrough event on March 23rd in Utah. If you're out there, go check it out. Excited about that. And also speaking at his mastermind in Hawaii, to an island, new island I've never been to. Really excited. The Leaders Mastermind by Rob Sperry. These are always awesome events. Highly recommended. Let me put a note on that. It's only for 6 figures and above. But if you are a 6-figure and above, definitely recommend you should invest the money. It's way, way, way worth it. Okay, for the relationships to build, the aha moments. That's why I go there and speak at these events. This would be my 3rd one in there. Couple other updates is I joined the gym. I hadn't joined a gym in almost 4 years since the pandemic closed it. I was working out at home, but I'll tell you, it's the accountability, right? I was like, I'm the Mr. Consistency. I can do it. Nothing. Yeah, I was working out at home, but it's just not as the same as working out with other people because in the environment, right? Talk about the 7 components of the consistency system. By the way, I'll link this in the show notes too as well. Component number 4 is to create that environment. I have a little mini gym in the backyard, but it's nothing as being around other people working out and got way, way better workouts. And my son goes there as well. Accountability. We go together and we lift weights. Okay. He doesn't really lift weights, but he does a lot of push-ups and lighter stuff and stretches, super light weights and machines. We don't want to lift that hard at that. He's still very, very young. So accountability important. Definitely have up my workouts. Baseball with the boys have been awesome. All 3 boys are playing travel ball now. Again, the gap and gain has helped me embrace each kid the way they are instead of having my oldest son set a standard. And then the last thing is message is a serious one is this really knocked me and hopefully I'm going to compose myself here. But one of my best friends passed away on January 17th. My late friend, Ray Moran. And it's just crazy. Life is precious. You never know. I'm saying this right now. Hopefully, we all live each day like we're going to live to 90 years old, 100 years old forever, but we never know. Ray was someone I spent at one point. I don't want to say this joke, but we were so close. We would see each other 2-3 times a week when I was in my 20s. And every weekend we did something, whether it's partying, playing basketball, bowling, some event, get together, playing cards. We always did something together with one-on-one. We went to the driving range or we would do a group of friends, but I was always with him. And when my parents moved to Long Island, New York, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, moved out there. I didn't know much Long Island, but he did. And we just explored places, went to play tennis together. There's so many thousands of memories. Even when I went back to his wake, just driving down that road, I think that, if I wasn't driving to work, I was driving to his house. And even those roads made me so nostalgic and cry while I was driving down those roads. But I went to his house 3 times in August. This was only 5 months ago. And we were playing basketball in the pool, having a great time. It was actually the first day we were just playing basketball in the pool. My oldest son, Kelly and the younger boys didn't come yet because we went to the baseball tournament. And then the next day, his oldest son and my mini me gets along. So we're hitting fly ball baseballs, and he was shagging baseballs, hitting. He hadn't swung a baseball bat in 20 years, but still hitting it because he played high school baseball. It was incredible. He was awesome shape. And then when Kelly, after the tournament, we went back the day. My mom's always saying, "Why are you going to his house again? Why are you going to his house?" And I was always spending time. I told my mom we'd get back home for dinner at 6. Did not get back home until 8, hanging out. We even went to the grocery store together, family. Saw him 3 times in a span of 2.5 weeks. And he just had rare form of cancer, and cancer got him. And just like that, he's gone. It's just so sad. Right now, I still can't get over it that he's gone. Now, he had this rare form of cancer that we knew, sadly, that I knew that it was probably not the survival rate was pretty low for 1 year. But I thought that I could see him in the summer, and I actually was planning to go there once a month. And I was going to go there February, March, April, May, once a month to spend 2-3 times in a bed to see him until he will eventually pass away. And I booked my flights. And his wife said that, "Hey, you know what? Do I need to come earlier?" And he said, "Oh, it's February. It's fine. It's okay." And just like that, right after book my flight, I think a couple of days later, he passed away. And it's just so sad. So I went out to New York. First time, it's this death thing. I've lost 5 close people in the last 2 years, including my late grandfather, which we knew we were expecting. One of my leaders, I did tribute for him, Mel Clarion, Jesse Lee Ward, good friend. But this was my closest friend. This one definitely, they all hurt, but this one hurt the most because I never saw it coming. So my message to you, I think when I went there, first of all, there's any good thing out of it was a lot of friends we talked about, old friends, we need to get together. We never do. And we start losing people. So that motivated me to do a networking event once a year. We're old friends, and I'm calling it the Ray Moran Forever Young Party because he was always forever young. He was very successful in his career, but also always had fun. To do an event in memory of him, I felt I wanted to do that. He inspired me to do it. But life is precious. We never knew. Like I'm talking about this, like we're going to live for a long time, but I could be dead by next week. I could be dead tomorrow. I could die today. We never know, and we really got to seize the day. Stop wasting the time. Stop worrying about what people think. I mean, that's the most, who cares what people think about you, right? How much time? And just go take action and do things. I never would have million years thought when we were playing basketball in the pool and jumping off the diving board, it was me and Ray, we're older now, against 2 boys who are younger in the pool. And we barely won. And we would say, next year, these kids will probably get us. Ray was playing basketball, real basketball, once a week in the best shape of his life. I never knew he'd be gone. It's so sad. But that's why my motivation, I start seeing everything differently. Like what's the stuff that we worries about us, the problems. Like I have a lot of problems. I'm nothing compared to the problems his wife has. His 2 kids, they're only like I think 11 and 6. No dad now, right? What she has to go through. It's just whatever problems you have, they're nothing compared to what other people are going through. There's always millions of people way, way worse. In the third world country, way worse. The fact that you're listening to this podcast or watching this on a YouTube, well, we're blessed. So be grateful for what we have and seize the day. Stop wasting time. Stop, playing small. Go 10x. Go big. Because we want one life to live, and we don't know how long we're going to live it. Go 10x in your business, go 10x in your personal life, go 10x be a spouse, dad, go do that. And but we always have to give something up in order to do that. So anyway, that's all I have for you. Sorry to end on a sad note, but go 10x your business. I'll put all these links on the show notes page. And if you like this episode, please share this with others. Go get that book, and please subscribe to us on the podcast channel. And also, I think the last couple of weeks I've been sharing old archive episodes. For a lot of people have been asking, you've been around for 9 years? Yes. Go to MLM Nation Archive. It's a separate podcast because we had so many. Apple forced us to start a second podcast. They're there. Okay. And make sure you subscribe to us on the YouTube channel as well. Anyway, hey, this is Simon Chan. I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you. I'm super grateful to you. I think I'm doing a podcast and super grateful to every one of you who is taking the time to do that. Appreciate you. Hit me on my social media. Let me know how you like it. And go out there, Seize the day and be grateful, seize the day and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.